Okay, today we're going to be using volume 2. We're going to be learning the halachas of Chanukah. Okay. It's Siman Kuf Lametes 139. And the page numbers, I'm not sure what it is. Chapter 139. Siman Kuf Lametes. Thank you. Anyone have it?
I just like to find Oscar Kashira. That's what I like to do.
Yeah, chapter 139.
Page 949.
949. Okay, page 949. Okay, so we don't have so much time to learn the halachas of Chanukah because next week is Kislev on Tuesday. So we have today and Monday, and the week after that is already Chanukah itself. So we have to prepare the halachas to know what to do. Baruch Hashem, it's not too scary. It's simple. We have to know exactly what the mitzvahs are, the special things, the special miracles that Hashem did for us on these days, what we're commemorating, what we're living through again. So Kuf Lametes, and you'll see actually there's a connection between the mitzvah of mezuzah to Hilchas Chanukah. We'll actually see it from Hashem today in the text. So the first halacha, we're going to be discussing what exactly happened on Chanukah. Why is Chanukah so special? And then we're going to be learning the halachas pertaining to the special nisim, the special miracles that Hashem did for us. So Aleph, Babayas Sheni, in the second Beis HaMikdash, that's the time where all the miracles of Chanukah happened. Keshamalchal Malchus Yavan, when the Greek Empire reigned, when they took over, Gozer Gzeiris al Yisrael. They made many decrees upon the Jewish people, and they took away our right to practice Yiddishkeit, to practice Judaism. They didn't allow us to learn Torah and to fulfill the mitzvahs. They made terrible decrees. They took away the money. They did terrible things to the Jewish women. They went to the Beis HaMikdash and they did terrible things in the Beis HaMikdash. Whatever was pure, they made impure. It was a really, really bad time. Until Hashem had Rachmanos, he had what's in English? Rachmanot. What are those words? Mercy, yeah. Hashem finally had mercy on the Jewish people, and Hashem saved us from all of their decrees. So what happened? We know the Maccabees, the Bnei Hashmonai, they were the Kehanim of the time. They were very, very little in number, very few in number, but they stood up and they fought back against the Greek Empire and they actually won. And they saved the Jewish people from this empire. So what do? They appointed a king from the Kehanim, and we know that a Jewish king cannot be a Kohen. It has to be somebody from the descendants of David HaMelech. So Lefisha, if it's for one term, so to speak, it's not a problem, but any melucha, which is any kingship, which is going to be forever, this is reserved for descendants of David HaMelech. So they were allowed to do it, but it's not an everlasting dynasty. The dynasty belongs to David HaMelech and to his offspring. The Chazra Malchus Yisrael Yisra al Reish Shan Ad HaChurban Hasheni. So after this whole miracle of Chanukah, after they appointed a king, the Jewish leadership, the Beis Hamikdash, stood for over another 200 years until the Churban Habayis, until the destruction of the Second Temple. The miracle of when we took back, I should say, the Jewish kingdom, the Beis Hamikdash, this happened on Chav Hei Kislev. Today is Yud Beis, so Chav Hei is in another 13 days. So just under 2 weeks, this is when the miracles happened. So what happened? So after they took over, they wiped out all of the enemies. There's a mitzvah that we have in the Beis Hamikdash to light the menorah every single day. So when they came back, they searched and searched and searched for pure oil, and they only found one that had the chesam, that had a hechsher, that had the oil on it, so that had the chesam shel Kohen Gadol, that had the seal of the Kohen Gadol, which showed that it was stayed pure, that they never managed to purify it. Now, I'm sure you're going to be learning in Chassidus that this represents a tumah can only reach to a certain level. There's a certain level of a Jew that can never become impurified. Right? So just like that's the way it is Baruch is by every single Jew, there is his neshama is always there, the neshama is always there. It's not going away. You can never fully impurify, so to speak, a Jew. So this is actually what this represents. And it came out physically that the Greeks, even though they did the most terrible things you can imagine, nevertheless, the Pintel Yid, the Etzem HaNeshama of the Yid, they were never able to impurify. This is what, I'm sure you'll see it, it's all over Chassidus in the Sichos. So we're learning halacha, so it's very important to also remember that halacha is not just dry halacha, but it's Torah achas, it's one Torah, everything is connected, and it's so strongly connected that it actually manifested physically that the Greeks simply couldn't fully impurify all of the oil. So first of all, the first miracle was that they were able to find oil to begin with. The second miracle was that it was only one jug. One jug is not going to last you more than 1 day. You're going to ignite it once. That goes all of your oil. So what happened? They were able to use this jug of oil, and it lasted them for 8 days. The amount of time that it takes to press all of the olives to get pure oil, it's a total of 8 days. And for these entire 8 days, Hashem made a tremendous miracle that this one jug was able to last throughout this entire process. And because of this tremendous miracle that Hashem did, Hashem showed us the Chachamim of that generation. They established that these 8 days, starting from Chav Hei Kislev, which is 13 days from now, these 8 days preceding Chav Hei Kislev are going to be Yemei Simcha V'Halol, days of happiness and days of praise. So on top of it being Yemei Simcha and Halol, days of joy, happiness, and praise to Hashem, but we also have a mitzvah that we light neres, we light candles in the evening. It says here on the door, by the doors, every single night, and we'll see the outside door, the inside door. We're going to see later exactly. In Eretz Yisrael, they put on the outside and the inside. Some exactly, some like this, some like that. Haman is always inside. Yeah. You'll see in a second. Yeah. You ever saw it? Oh, we'll see. Oh, yeah, we'll see. There's what everyone is saying is right. We'll see how we get to each minhag.
I know because in Israel, so we just come to see in the window. So
The Yamam Elu Nikroyim Chanukah. Let's say no lamer. What does it mean Chanukah? Chanu Chavhei. Chanu Chavhei, everything Chavhei Kislev. That's when everything Baruch Hashem is restored. Shebiyem Chavhei Chanu Me'evehem. The Eid B'nei Sheyamim Elu also Chanukah Sabayis Shatzerim Kimuhu. So Chavhei is we had relief from the enemies, and also because there was a Chanukas Habayis. They re-inaugurated the Beis Hamikdash, the Mizbeach. Because it's a real yomtiv, there's a machlokes amongst the poskim if you have to have an actual feast. We know Purim, there's a special mitzvah to have a seudah, to have a whole meal, and it turns into a farbrengen. Chanukah, it's a dispute. It's not so simple. And the reason is, Purim was a time that when they wanted to destroy the Jewish people, it was a physical decree. They don't care. You practice Judaism, you don't practice Judaism. It was a decree upon any Jewish person, whether you like being Jewish or you don't like being Jewish, it doesn't matter. If you're Jewish, there was the decree to chas v'shalom annihilate the entire Jewish people. So it was more of a physical miracle that Hashem saved us. And being that it was a physical miracle, we celebrate in a physical way with a seudah, with a meal. Chanukah was very different. Chanukah was a spiritual decree to make the Jewish people chalila like the other nations of the world. Take away Torah, take away mitzvahs. And even at a point when they allowed the Jewish people to learn Torah, they said you can't learn Hashem's Torah. You can only learn the mitzvahs that make sense to a regular person. As soon as there's any Hashem involved, this is unacceptable. So the very fact that we won, it was more of a spiritual decree, and it was more of a spiritual victory. It's true, they made physical gezeres, they did make physical decrees on the Jewish people, but all of these things could have been over with if the Jewish people, chas v'shalom, would have just given up their Yiddishkeit, chas v'shalom. All of that would have went away. So the main miracle and the main decree of Chanukah was more of a spiritual decree, and that's actually why the miracle is not the mitzvahs that we have are not necessarily connected with a physical feast, because the miracle wasn't so much connected to a physical miracle. So that's one way that it's explained. However, it is still a mitzvah a little bit a little bit extra, and especially it's brought down in the poskim that if you take your seudah, your marba a little bit, you have a little bit more extra, and you use this time to thank Hashem, that's for sure you are being the kind of mitzvah, you're fulfilling a mitzvah. So practically speaking, you do not have to have a whole feast like on Purim, but if you go ahead and you make a feast with your family and you say, give praise to Hashem, you thank Hashem for the miracles that happened to us, you do fulfill a mitzvah with this. Another reason is because the Malachas HaMishkan was finished on this day. There's also a mitzvah to tell the members of your household the miracles that happened to our forefathers on these days. And we call so even if you're going to have a seudah and you're going to tell them miracles, it's not considered a full seudah mitzvah unless you sing praise to Hashem. This is a proper time, it's by halacha, to be marbe b'tzedakah on these days, because during these days there's a special koyach to fix anything that wasn't proper in the past. It's a zman mesugel, it's a very auspicious time to fix all of those things, and it's brought down that this is accomplished through tzedakah. Base, the second halacha, ein mesanin b'imei Chanukah. We do not fast on the days of Chanukah. Avol b'yem shalifneihem uv'yem shalachareim mutarin behefset ub'tainis. The day before Chanukah and the day after Chanukah, if Chas v'Shalom there's a need for a hesped, then it is allowed. And if somebody wants to fast, I don't think anyone here is running to fast, but in case you want to fast, you're allowed to do it the day before Chanukah and the day after Chanukah. Gimel, Chanukah mutar b'asiyas malacha, the third halacha. Chanukah is allowed, you are allowed to do malacha. It's not like Shamer Siyamtiv and it's not like Cholamayid. Everything is allowed. Ach hanoshim neihagesh leilasis malacha kozman shanedis babayis belches ve'ein lahaka lahem. By the ladies, there's a minhag that they do not do malacha while the light is still lit. This doesn't mean you can't be on your phone. This doesn't mean you can't cook. It means anything which is a tircha. If you have to make clothing, fix any clothing, things that actually require a tircha, anything which is hard, you shouldn't do. And this is a minhag that ladies accepted upon themselves. And the reason for this is because there was a terrible decree on the Jewish ladies. Therefore, they felt as a special thank you to Hashem that they took upon themselves the special minhag. And also, aside from the fact that there was a specific decree on the Jewish ladies, but there was also the whole nace, the whole miracle was actually thanks to a Jewish woman. What happened? What happened was the general found the daughter of Yechanan Kohen Gadol, and he invited her to his tent. She was very, very smart. What did she do? She gave him milchiks. What happens when a person usually eats cheese, milchiks? It makes them tired, right? And wine. And the second thing that she gave was wine. So knocked him out. He fell asleep. She cut off his head. We're talking about the king over here, the general of the Greeks who came to attack Yerushalayim. She brought it to Yerushalayim and she showed it to everybody. Look, this is the head of your commander. This is the head of your chief over here. As soon as they saw that, all the Greeks got afraid and they all ran away. So there's two reasons. One of them is to thank Hashem for this minhag that ladies took upon themselves. Is number one, to give special thanks to Hashem because there was a terrible decree on the Jewish ladies. And number two, the very fact that one of the main turning points of the miracles of Chanukah was done through a lady. So this is a special minhag, and it is important to keep because in general, minhag Yisrael are very important. They're not just physical things, but everything has a special meaning l'mayla, and it accomplishes special things l'mayla, even if we don't understand them. Dalet. So that's the gist of Chanukah. This is how it works. There's a special minhag that we mentioned. A seudah is not necessary, but if you want to have a seudah, it is proper to tell over the story of Chanukah and to give praise to Hashem. Now, the mitzvah of lighting the menorah. How do you do that? So down it. Kol hashmanim ksherim l'ner Chanukah. All of the shmanim, all of the oils are kosher to light your menorah. Nevertheless, even though everything is acceptable, mitzvah min amurcha liyikach shemen zayis dumya deneis shebemigdash shahaya b'shemen zayis. The best thing is to get olive oil, and the reason for that is because the miracle in the Beis HaMikdash actually happened with olive oil. They found pach shemen echad. They found one jug of olive oil which is pure. So to commemorate the miracle, the way it happened. Mitzvah min amurcha, the best way to fulfill the mitzvah is also to use olive oil. If you're in a place where you do not have olive oil, yivrei sharim shemen she'er zach v'noki. The other options are to use another type of oil, but it should be an oil that gives off a good light. It should be zach, the milky, should be a good flame that comes out of it. Another option is ner shel shaiva, wax candles, which also the flame is a good quality flame that comes from these from the wax candles. Lo yihiu shnayim kaluim b'yachad mishum dehave k'madura ela kol ner yichidi. You shouldn't have two candles which are, like the Havdalah candles, you have a few candles which are intertwined, they're together. By Chanukah, it's important that every candle is separate for itself, because then it has a halachic status of a madura, of a flame, of a bonfire. It's not a candle anymore. The mitzvah is ner. It has to be specifically in the way of a candle or a single light. It should not be a fire. Mitzvah anything that was used for Avodah Zarah obviously should not be used. Again, how many people have access to that? But in case anyone does, for the mitzvah of Chanukah, it should not be used. Also, the psilas, the wicks, thank you. The wicks, anything is kosher for the wicks. The best thing is cotton. So mitzvah menamuvcha, if you're going to the store, you're going to buy yourself a menorah. You have two things on your checklist: olive oil, this is the best, and cotton wicks. These two, this is the mitzvah min hamuvcha. If you don't have it, it's not available, it's too expensive. Anything is kosher. You can use any oil. Wax candles, no problem. It's 100% okay. Now, in the actual menorah itself, if somebody has a menorah made out of earthenware, of clay, a clay menorah, once it's used once you ignite it, it loses its niceness, so to speak. It's not as it's considered a yashan, and it's not as nice as it used to be. So it's better not to use it. The best is to get a metal menorah, and it's brought down over here that it's not just metal, but if somebody has a glass menorah, this is also good. Which today, by the way, most of the cup holders are glass. Right, so you have a metal menorah. Most of the things that hold the shemen, the oil, are actually glass. So, anyways, most people are not going to have this issue to begin with. Somebody who has the means to do so, there is a hiddur mitzvah to get a silver menorah. It's not a must. It's just a hiddur mitzvah if anybody wants to go out of their way. Vav minhag pashut b'minin eseinu k'mahadrin min ha'mahadrin shemadlikin kol echad ve'echad mibnei habayis b'layla harishin ne'echad u'b'shein l'shnei neiris v'chein me'sifin ad shebelela shmini madlik shmeina. If you light literally one light, every single light of Chanukah, you have fulfilled the mitzvah. That counts. The ikra din, the simple dry halacha, if you light one candle every night, this is the mitzvah. Mahadrim, in the Mahadrim, the absolute best way to fulfill the mitzvah is that all of the bnei bayis, everyone who dwells in a home, they all light their own menorah, and on top of that, every day they add a candle. So the first night you light one candle, the second light a second candle, third candle, so on and so forth. This is Mahadrim and Mahadrin. And it's very, very interesting. The Rebbe points out that specifically when it comes to the mitzvah of Chanukah, you find that every single Jew, no matter their affiliation, fulfills the mitzvah on the highest level. Mahadrim and Mahadrin. Have you ever met a Jew that only lights one light every night? There's no such thing. Everyone only knows the highest level to do the mitzvah. So it's very, very special, actually, by Chanukah, that every single Jew is doing it mahadrim and mahadrim, the best way possible.
Without knowing.
They don't even know. This is by them. This is the mitzvah. What do you mean? There's no question about it. They don't know anything else. They only know the best way to do it. Sorry? Oh, so there's different customs in this. Yes. We'll see later on in Sifyu Tes that women have the equal obligation to light candles just like men, but the husband patters them. The husband, when he does the mitzvah, he includes them, or if it's an unmarried daughter, the father includes, he patters, he fulfills the mitzvah for his daughters. Some do have a custom that every single person, including girls, light it. The main minhag is that the father does it, and this includes the daughters, or the husband does it, and this includes his wife. We'll get to what we're going to do. I'm sure the seminary has every year what they do, so that will give instructions. My assumption is either Rabbi Majeski will light for everyone, or everyone is going to light for their own. Either way is okay. It's just a question of what they do practically over here. So we'll get to that halach in Sifyu Tes. But yes, when it says bnei bayis, it does include ladies, girls, and it's just a question of custom. Some communities, they do it one way, some communities do it another way. There's no right or wrong. It's all about the minhag, what's done in this kehillah, in this community. There's also a special halacha that you shouldn't light the menorah where you would light candles regularly, because it should be special. It's designated for Chanukah. When people will see, they're not going to have a question. Is this for Chanukah, or is this just because they regularly light candles? It should be in a special place, and we're seeing exactly, as we mentioned earlier, where to light. Actually, that's the next halacha. Zayin. The seventh halacha. Mitzvahs ner Chanukah lahadlik b'Pesach hasamach l'reshus harabim mishum persumei nisa. V'kach hayu'esin b'zman haMishnah v'haGemara. When you open up a Gemara, you open up the Mishnayos, you'll see, and you want to know what to do, you'll see how is the mitzvah performed. Nobody lit it in their house back in the day. Back in the day, everyone lit it. You had a chatzah, your front lawn, your back lawn. You would actually put it by the door to the gate going into your lawn on the outside. Why? Because there was a special mitzvah of Persumei Nisa, to publicize the miracle that Hashem made. So you would put it on the outside so everyone can see that today is Chanukah, and we're thanking Hashem during this time for the miracles that He did for us. But this is all in the time of the Mishnah and the Gemara. ובזמן הזה שאנו דורים בין האומות מדליקים בבית שהוא דרבי. Today, where we're not in Eretz Yisrael, we do not light on the outside. Back in the time, it was actually a danger to do so, because you don't want to start up with, you're asking for trouble. Back in the day, if you would have put your menorah on the outside, by publicizing that you're Jewish and you're openly publicizing Hashem's miracles, back in the day, this is a very dangerous thing to do. So already hundreds of years ago, they started only lighting it in the actual house to avoid danger. There's a time of sakana. So what do you do? If you have a window facing the public way, Yadlik Sham, you should put it in the window. The Imlav, if you don't have such a window available, Madlik Eitzal HaPesach, you put it by the door. So the Minhag Chabad, interestingly enough, is even if you have a window, we do not put it by the window. It's only on the inside for the family. And it's not just in Chabad, many do so, and many put it by the window. These are different customs. And it's very interesting. Why? Especially in Minyan Chabad, our whole focus is to bring Yiddishkeit to the world, not to be embarrassed, to put it full force, to spread Torah mitzvahs. So why all of a sudden, when it comes to Chanukah, we don't put it by the window? We put it after in the house. The answer given to this is because before you can go out and accomplish with the outside, you first have to work with yourself. You first have to illuminate yourself and in your bnei bayis, in your family. Once you're illuminated, then you have the koyach to go and illuminate others. So this is the reason that even though when it comes to Chanukah, it's a mitzvah Persumei Nisa, there is dafka an inyan to go out and to spread the miracle, to show Hashem's greatness for us. Nevertheless, the accepted custom by us is we do not do this. We only light on the inside, not by the window. And the reason given is because in order to light another Jew, his neshama, their neshama, a person themselves has to be lit up with the energy, and their neshama has to be awakened first. Mitzvah she'aniach b'tefach hasamach l'pesach mismail shetehei mezuzah miyamin v'ner Chanukah mismail v'nimtza shel mesubav b'mitzvahs yesotei lahanicham b'chalal hapesach. Oh, here's a connection to mezuzah. Mezuzah goes on the right, right? The mezuzah goes on the right. What do we learn? Yeah, okay, Baruch Hashem. What if you're a lefty? It still goes on the right? Still goes, okay, very good. I'm just making sure.
Unless you have some door hinges.
Yeah, then things get complicated. But if everything is not complicated, it goes on the right. Even with the hinges, it doesn't go on the left. It goes on the right from the other side. It's always the right. So the mezuzah, the mitzvah is to put it on the right, and Chanukah goes on the left. Why? Because when you are there, you should be surrounded with mitzvahs.
Why?
So you should be surrounded with mitzvahs. It's a special inyan to put it by the door and on the left of the door. So a Jew should be surrounded with mitzvahs. Mezuzah on the right and the Chanukah on the left. Okay, Ches, the 8th halacha. Mitzvah lahanicham lamayla megillah tvachim min hakarka ulamata me'asara tvachim.
But the door, which door you choose, not the front door?
You can put it by the front door, but on the inside, or any other main place inside where people are going to see it. So if you have the kitchen is the main doorpost, so you can put it there on the left side. So it's either way is acceptable. The main thing is that the bnei bayis on the inside, everyone should be able to see it. This is the important thing. Now, where do you put it? How high, how low? Just like the mezuzah we learned, it has to be on a certain height. The same is when it comes to a menorah, the Chanukah. When you're lighting it, where do you do it? It should be higher than 3 tvachim, which is 8, 16, 24. Right? You're measuring it higher than 24 centimeters. And under 10 tefachim, which is 80 centimeters. So between 26 and 80 centimeters. This is the ideal place to put the menorah. If you put the menorah higher, you simply didn't have anywhere else to put it. Miyud, if you put it higher than 10 tefachim, yatsa, you fulfilled the mitzvah, it's not a problem. If you put it higher than 20 amas, not tefachim, amas, which is very, very high, you did not fulfill the mitzvah. Loy yatsa. Why? Again, this is Baruch Hashem, not so applicable. Nobody has such high doors even. So, Baruch Hashem, this halach is not so practical. so it's not a problem. Omisha hudar ba'aliyah, somebody who lives, let's say, in an apartment building, or they live in the second floor, yachol lahanichem b'chalayin afal pimisha hu gevaya miyud tachim. You can put it by your window, even though it's higher than 10 tachim. Aval ima chalayin lamaylam asrim amma makarka l'shus rabim l'shalta b'hu eina l'shechem l'shus rabim l'zayim tayv yesu lahanichem eitzel pesach. Interesting. Somebody's living in an apartment building, or they're renting the second floor of a house. You have two options. You can either put it by the window, which again, this is for those who have the custom to do so. Our custom is not to do so, but this is the halacha. We're just going to discuss it because it's Torah and it's important to know regardless. So you have two options. You can either put it by your window or you can put it on the inside. But here's the catch. If you put it by your window, it's for the public eye, for the Persumei Nisa. If it's higher than 20 amas, you shouldn't do it, because at the end of the day, you're not going to accomplish the Persumei Nisa, because your average person is not going to look up that high. So what do? You put it in your house, and you for sure don't have that problem, because it's going to be within your madlikit, you lined it for the people in your household. So even though your building is technically, you're physically higher than 20 amas, but it doesn't make a difference, because the height goes by your audience. The audience for, if you're lighting from the inside, is for your family. Your family could see it. But if your audience is for the public, you're putting by the window. If it's too high, it's not the mitzvah. It's too high, people are not going to see it. Is that clear? Ish?
When you count the heights of the menorah, you measure by the flames, not by the base.
Yes. Right. This is another point. There is a machlekes. There are two opinions on how do you measure the height. Do you go by the flame or do you go by the actual menorah? There's some opinions say as long as your physical menorah is within the proper height, even if your flames are higher, it's okay, because the menorah, that's the main thing. Some say no, that's not the halacha. The halacha is you go by the flames. So chatchila, it's most definitely better to have the flames within the height. If it's impossible, then you have a shitta, you have an opinion to rely on, as long as the menorah is within that amount. But the main thing is the flame. If it's not possible, then you have what to rely on. It's still okay. Tess, the 9th halacha. The candles should be in one straight line. Also, it shouldn't be like this. One high, one low, one high, one low. It should be straight in height and straight in the actual line that the lights are sitting in. The lights should not be too close to each other, because if the flame gets too close one to another, what happens? It can turn into a madura, into a fire, into a flame, and it no longer has the status of a candle. Okay. This is very practical. If you're using wax candles, it's very common by Miftzayim menorahs. When you give them out, what happens? You have all the candles beside each other, and the heat actually from each candle melts all the other candles. So here it's saying it's important to keep the candles at a little distance to avoid this problem. So they shouldn't become, so you shouldn't lose the mitzvah. Yes.
This is one of the reasons that about the fire.
Oh, so we light the candles with oil. We're not going to have to do it with that because it's mitzvah min ha-muvcher. That's how the miracle happened. The time of the Beis Hamikdash, being that's mitzvah min ha-muvcher, we have to look for that. And there's a side benefit at this point also. But the main thing is because that's the best way to do it. That's with candles made out of shaiva, out of wax. What about if you're using oil? So mila kaina shaman v'kipa psilis. Im kafa ala kli kol psila ela b'shvil ner echad. Like kafa ala kli afil l'ner echad eina ela lefi shehi kemadura. I'll draw this out. You have a do-it-yourself menorah. You have a bowl, you have oil, and you filled it with a bunch of wicks.
What is wicks?
The silan, yeah? You have the wicks for the fire, yeah?
Only one, no?
Oh, exactly. Only one. This should not be done. If you're doing it, you should put a keli, some sort of cover that would separate each one of them. Again, if you have a cover, let's say you have a cover that's designed like this, it's not the best picture, whatever, you get the point that there's the cover makes a separation for all of the wicks, that would count. If you don't have the cover, then it's considered a flame. It's not considered a candle anymore, even if they're not touching. Okay. Yeah, so if you didn't put this, the cover, which would separate all the wicks, it's considered a madura, and it's not considered a candle anymore. Somebody, you have two, the same case, but you have the keli on top of it. Two people shouldn't light from it because you don't have a hecker. That it's two different mitzvahs, right? So if two people are lighting, they should light, and it should be separate candles. They shouldn't mix on one thing. Okay, it's 10 o'clock, and Mitzvah Shem will continue.
Thank you.